This is a documentary, I believe. It's called Trophy.
We're talking with the director and screenwriter of Trophy. The director is Shaul Schwarz, and the screenwriter Christina.
No? No?
Directed it.
Oh,
okay.
oh, this is wrong information on our part. They're both directors, and pick up the microphones really close to your mouths and go and tell me what a schmuck I am for saying that. You're both the directors.
All good.
Yeah, this is wrong information here. Christina, how do you say your last name, Christina?
Clusiau.
Clusiau. Mm-hmm. These are Trophy. Now it's about big game hunting and the taking of the trophies, and we would just assume. Oh, that's horrible. It's an easy movie to make because it's horrible, but it's not quite that simple, apparently.
No, it's not. This all started about 3.5 years ago when we were sitting together around a kitchen table, and I saw a picture of a man posing next to a dead elephant. And I was really angered. I didn't know anything. I'm not a hunter, didn't know anything about it, and thought it was really all horrible, like you said. Christina is from northern Minnesota. She grew up with hunters, not a hunter herself, but she kind of started challenging it, and we dove into this world first by going to Safari Club in Las Vegas, which is a huge convention of hunting, and further into Africa. And we understood pretty quickly that it's a little bit more gray than we thought. The idea of putting a commercial value on an animal potentially can help conserve a species.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Some of the stories that have come out about, like, that dentist who shot the lion.
The girl and her father.
The girl and her
more recently, and they go and hunt, but then give the meat to the villages. Do you guys address those kinds of things?
And then some of the money that is taken, that they charge, then they say, well, we put that back into a preserve, which is then is that the sort of thing you look at in Trophy?
Yeah, so we look at a number of different things. One being the aspect of the big game hunting. So we follow a character that's from Texas, and his journey is to hunt the big five, which is lion, elephant, rhino, leopard, and buffalo. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, we follow a character by the name of John Hume. And John Hume is a rhino breeder. He's the largest rhino breeder in South Africa, a place where it has about, I think, 70% of the world's rhinos left. And he advocates something differently. He believes that the population of rhinos is decreasing so quickly that he advocates for the legalization of the trade in rhino horn. So he'll cut the horn, and that is something that is a renewable resource.
This will grow back.
So it will grow back.
These are people use the rhino horn in Asian countries for potions and.
They do, and it's a age-old belief.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't believe it, but they definitely do believe it.
Well, they're wrong.
They are wrong in what they think, but many people are wrong. It just doesn't stop them from using it.
Well, that's a good point.
Many people say, well, drugs are bad for you. Well, there's still a demand, and as long as we create a trafficking that in one point something's worth very little, and the other hand.
That's an excellent point.
So what we have doing, for example, was rhino horn. And believe me, I don't want to use rhino horn, and it's not a pretty sight to see. But what we have been doing is since 83, we've said, in China, this is illegal. Well, guess what? The demand by making it illegal has gotten higher and higher and higher. Thus, the price tag is now higher than gold. Now, you take a poor African person that's starving, and he sees a 10 kilo of gold running around.
Unintended consequences.
Correct. Humans are strange people.
Trophy is the name of the movie. I don't like this. I want things to be black and white.
You're feeling conflicted now, aren't you?
I want things to be black and white.
I think initially when we went in, we had this perspective that things were black and white. But as we continued the journey and started making this film, we realized that it was much more complex than that. And it's not so black and white.
And it's one of these issues that I think genuinely people, hunters, certainly rhino breeders, they actually do care about animals. I think the one thing we can unite both sides is the decrease of animals, because that's one thing we can all agree on. But I think what's dangerous, and this is like abortion or like this religious kind of issue, you either come in super left or super right, because you sit here a hunter and he'll go at you how they're doing all the conservation and nobody else is doing anything. And
hunters will say that, yeah.
And they don't have all the truth either, but neither does the other side of just saying, well, let the wild be wild, and if it goes extinct, so be it. something we have learned that if you empower breeders to breed and they could create more animals, that has to be something we have to consider. After all, if we're trying to fight the numbers dwelling and you could create interest in breeding, that can't be wrong. And so as you see the film, I think it does mess with your head in terms of trying to let go of the beliefs you came in from both sides.
I think it's interesting. As filmmakers, you started out with some preconceived notions, and you changed your own minds as you were going. That's really interesting. You set out to make a different movie, probably.
Yeah, in one way, we set out definitely to thinking that this was a black and white issue, and I think as we went through it, like I said, it became much more gray, and so we took this experience through the movie as the same as something that we would like the viewers to take with, is that maybe you come in with your preconceived notions, and we aim and we hope that you leave with more questions than answers.
The movie is called Trophy. It's a documentary. We have the directors here. So do either of you want to take up big game hunting or hunting of any kind now that you've done this?
No, it's not our cup of tea. We're not hunters. But, as we went through this, you question really simple stuff. The leather shoes I'm wearing now, the bacon I had for breakfast. We domesticated animals. We use them. Most people do. If you're vegan, you got a better complaint, but most of us aren't. So, as hunters came and said, well, look at this way. I'm adding this weird added value because I want to stick it on my wall. And, we could say, oh, you're crazy, you're an ass.
Yeah.
But does it work? Can we get heart and mind game out of the way here and try and think with our mind what works and what doesn't? And again, what we found out is that it's quite in the middle. Hunters want to say that it always works. It doesn't. Money doesn't always trickle down. There's lots of problems with the theory. But on paper, it works much better than the liberal left thinks it does, that this is just a failure and we don't need it.
Yeah. It's a trophy. I think it raises great questions, and is there still some opportunity to see this? Have you shown it yet to the audience?
Yes, we have screenings coming up on Wednesday and Friday of this week.
Wednesday at 6:30 at the Redstone Cinema, and Friday at 2:30 in the afternoon, Prospector Square.
All right. Thanks for being with us. Look for it, and hopefully we'll see it. If you can't pick it up here, we'll see it in other venues, I hope.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You.
Trophy.
Trophy.